So we're up to the Gemara, the very last words of Samach Zayin and Beis. Amar Bakiva Chulu. That's the Piska. I'm going on the Mishnah. What did the Mishnah say? The Mishnah said.
What's today's Daf?
Samachas.
Yeah.
So the Mishnah had said on Samach Zayin, the Mishnah had said that that somebody who's mechashev, somebody who does kishav, if he does actual kishav, he's chayev. If he does oiches eseinayim, he fools the eye, then he's not chayev. And Rabbi Kiva says in the name of Rabbi Yeshua, if you could have two people gathering gourds, kishuan, and one does it, it'll be pater, and one does it, it'll be chayev. The guy who did it as pater just made it look that way. The guy who actually did it with kishav is going to be chayev. So that's what the Mishnah says. So it's Rabbi Kiva saying in the name of Rabbi Yeshua. Frak the Gemara. Rabbi Kiva and Rabbi Yeshua. Gamarla. Rabbi Kiva said in the Mishnah. Rabbi Kiva said in the name of Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Kiva learned it from Rabbi Yeshua. It's not so. Vatanya learned in a brayso. We're going to say that he learned it from Rabbi Eliezer. And the Mishnah, the Gemara is going to tell us a whole long story that is just the point of the reason why the Gemara is bringing this story is just to make this point that Rabbi Kiva learned from Rabbi Eliezer about Kishaf and Kishua. And now we're going to say the story. Vatanya we learned in a brayso. Shachala Rabbi Eliezer, when Rabbi Eliezer got sick. Now, if you remember, he had where was it? In Bav Matzia, that there was a story about a tanner, an oven, and it was cut in pieces, and then they were put together in a certain way. And the shaila was that tamei or tahar? And this is the famous Tanur Shalachnai. And Rabbi Eliezer held that it was, it's very hard sugya. If I remember correctly, Rabbi Eliezer held it was Tameh, if I'm not mistaken. The Rabbanan held it was Tahar.
I'm taking it apart, I'm calling it Tameh, doesn't it?
No, I'm sorry, the other way around. Rabbi Eliezer said it was Tahar, and the Rabbanan said it was Tameh, I think. I think that's what it was. And by taking it apart, could be it takes away the tumah exactly. And he wouldn't be maskim to the das of the rabbim, and they felt that they needed. Chazal felt that they needed the chum of that time. Felt that they needed to put him into nidui, so that people shouldn't, I guess, not be mechabed coming to chacham. I'm guessing that was the reason. And because he said, but the shamayim bin yechiach, and the baskol came out, and then of course Rabbi Yeshua said le b'shamayim it said that the walls of the Beis Medrash bin yechiach, and they started falling. All sorts of things that Rabbi Eliezer was doing, and they didn't listen. The Maisa, they put him into nidui, and towards the end of his life, he got sick. I don't know at what point in his life it's happened, but it says Rabbi Eliezer got sick. Nichlas Rabbi Kiva v'chaveirav levakroi. Rabbi Kiva and his chaverim came to visit Rabbi Eliezer v'akra chayla. Now he was still in nidui. Hu yeshe b'kinaf shalai. He sat in his a porch. A kinaf is like a
vestibule.
It's like pergola, we call it today. It's got like four sides with a roof. But the sides are open. Yeah.
Gazebo.
What'd you say?
Gazebo.
Like a gazebo without walls. And they sat in his traklin, his little palace, his house. Because they weren't sitting next to him because he was still in Cher. That day was Friday. Nichlas Herknes and Herknes, Rabbi Eliezer's son, came in Lachlitz Tfilah to take off his tefillin, his father's tefillin, because there's Erev Shabbos, and the lach is you don't wear tefillin on Shabbos because maybe you go out with him to Rosh Hashanah, right? So we don't wear tefillin on Shabbos. Garbai, he v'yatzav and zifa. So Rabbi Eliezer yelled at Herknes, and he went out like in shame because he was being yelled at. Armelahan l'chaveirav, Herknes said to his chaverim, or the Zvirsa chaver of Shalaba. There's various kursos over here, but he said to the people, "Gumdumani and Shadaite Shalaba Nitrafa." I think that my father went off the deep end because this happens sometimes when people get sick and towards the end of their life. And why is he yelling at me? Because Shabbos is coming. You have to take your tefillin off, right? So Rabbi Eliezer heard him say this. Amar lahen. So he said to them, "Daitai miyusheves." his das, his seichel is settled. Right? In other words, he's talking about himself. Rabbi Eliezer is saying, I know what I'm doing. But das imay nitrafa. And his mother, Hyrcanus, her das is nitrafa. Because the Maharsha explains that his mother didn't light the Shabbos candles yet. Okay? Her mother, she didn't light yet. And he explained what was the problem. How are you leaving the Isser Skila of something like Hatmana, Rashi says, or Hadlaka Saner, because his mother didn't, his Hercules' mother, didn't light the candle, and being Isaac Isser Shvus, because tefillin is at most a Shvus if you wear them on Shabbos. So why are you being...
Why is it muksa for us?
Well, it's muksa because we don't wear it, but it's not regular muksa. We don't wear it on Shabbos. That's why it's muksa by definition.
So people wear it inside.
But that's why if you're on the street and you see a pair of tefillin on the floor, you can pick it up and put it on. And
Shabbos.
Yeah, and carry it not by carrying it. You can put it on and wear it inside. Because if you're wearing it, it's like a beged. How can you pick it up? You pick it up because it's not be'etza muktzah. It's muktzah. We don't use it because we don't use it because we can't move it because for us it's muktzah because we don't put it on. But if you're in a situation where you need to put it on, right?
You're picking it up, you're making hanacha, and then you drop it somewhere else. That's carrying.
Right. When you're picking it up and putting it on, when you're picking it up, it didn't move anywhere. When you put it on, it's not a kira anymore. It's on your body. It's like clothing.
The Shiva in Yerushalayim that Bachram wear tefillin all day. Is that?
In times of Chazal, they used to wear tefillin all day.
Yeah, Bachram.
Okay, I didn't spend enough time in Yerushalayim. Okay. So anyway, so they asked, how could you leave the Isser Skila? So Rabbi Eliezer said, how can you leave the Isser Skila and be busy with the Isser Shvus? Rabbi Eliezer is saying priorities. You got to deal with priorities. Priorities are Isser Daraisa, not the Drabanan. He wasn't saying not to deal with the Drabanan, but he said you got to deal with the priorities first. So the Maisa, the Chacham saw that Rabbi Eliezer's das was, his seichel was clear. Nichnasu, they came in, v'yashlu fanav mirachik tal ramas, and they stand in front of him 4 amos away. Amar lahu, he told them, Lama basam, why'd you come? Remember, they weren't really getting along at this point, right? Rabbi Eliezer was upset at them because they put him in Tcheir. Amar lei, they told him, Lil matera banu, we came to learn Torah. Amar lahu, he told them, Bad achshav lama loy basam, why didn't you come until now? Amar lei, they told him, Lahir lanu panai, we didn't have time. Amr Lahani told them, Timiani, I wonder in Yomusu Misasatzman if these people will die a natural death. Misasatzman means dying by themselves as opposed to being killed. Right? If they'll get a car accident or something, it's not Misasatzman. The person dying in their bed is Misasatzman. So he was saying that they're going to have an einish for this that they didn't come to learn from him. Amr Rabbi Kiva said to him, Shali Mahu, what about me? What's going to be my misa? Amrullah, he told him, Eliezer told him, Shalcha, Kashmi Shalahan, your misa is going to be worse than theirs. Now, Taka Rabbi Kiva was one of the Sararugi Malchus. They combed his flesh with steel combs, iron combs. Natal Shteis Re'esav, Rabbi Eliezer took his 2 arms, and he put them on his heart. Amr, he said, Oy lachem Shteis Re'esai, woe to you, my 2 arms, Shein Kishtei Sifrei Torah, that are like 2 Sefer Torah and a glalim that are rolled up. When you roll up the Sefer Torah, you can't see the letters anymore. So woe to my arms that they're covered up, because they're like Sefer Torah that are covered up because I can't. I wasn't able to teach as much Torah as I wanted because I didn't have to meet them coming. In other words, he's saying
it wasn't his fault, really. Maybe
it was his fault. The Chacham have felt that he was wrong. Okay, but he's not just blaming himself. He's also blaming. This part is woe is me. He's just saying it's a krech. It's oive. But the first part was he was blaming the Chacham that you should have come. Harbater lemanti. I learned a lot of Torah. And then he explains what does it mean. What is he saying twice? One is Harbater lemanti lechsartim erbaisa afil kikal v'malak minayam. I learned a lot of Torah, and I didn't take away the amount that I learned from my Rabbeim. They had so much, and I was able to learn so little from them that it's as if I was like a dog that licking up from the ocean makes no impact. That's that there was so much Torah left in my Rebbeim that it was as if I didn't get anything from them. And Harba Torah Lemanti, and also I learned a lot of Torah. In my own Talmidim, they didn't take from me to make me missing, as if you take a little makeup thing out of a tube of makeup, it takes a little tiny bit with it, right? So he said, my Talmidim...
He doesn't lose by giving over.
Don't lose. It doesn't mean actually lose. It doesn't mean, it's speaking like, not metaphorically, symbolically, like, right, like everything that I took was a drop in the bucket. That's how you'd say it.
So therefore, he's learn more from his Rebbe.
He's saying, as much as I learned from my Rebbeim, it was a drop in the bucket of what they had to teach me. As much as my Talmidim learned from me, it was a drop in the bucket of what I had to teach them.
So he was way behind.
He was saying that he was saying this is why he was upset that they didn't
much more.
They could have learned. Yeah, they could have come. Not only that, I learned 300 halachas in the halachas of this particular type of tzaras, Be'eretz Aza Geshelek, right? Not even the whole Hilchas Tzaras. In one detail of Hilchas Tzaras. And nobody ever asked me about them.
He was lucky.
He said, in this one little tiny thing, I have all this, Torah to give over, and nobody ever asked me. Not only that, I learned 300 halachas. Some say that he said actually 3,000 halachas. Then the Tiyas Kishuin, but the halachas of Kishuf. Remember we just said in the Mishnah, somebody who plants Kishuin plants gourds with Kishuf. So in these halachas of Kishuf, and nobody ever asked me on these halachas except for Rabbi Akiva. Akiva ben Yosef was Rabbi Akiva. Pam achas, one time, he and I were going on the road. Amar Li, remember, Rabbi Eliezer is on his deathbed over here. Amar Li, Rabbi Akiva said to me, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi, my Rabbi, Lamdein ben Tiyas Kishuan. Tell me the halachas about Netias Kishuan, about this Kishuv stuff. Amarti davar echad, I said one thing, some Shem Hashem or something. The Smalakal asad Kishuan, and the field became full of Kishuan. Amar Li, so Rabbi Kiva said to me, Rabbi, my Rabbi, l'madatani Netiasim, you told me how to plant them. Lamdeni akirasa, and show me how to uproot them. Amarti davar echad, I said one thing. Niskam sukul l'makam echad, and they all gathered into one spot. So this is what he said. Now the story is going to continue, but just let's pause over here and say the Gemara's kasha. The Gemara's kasha is, you said that Rabbi Kiva learned the halachas of Netias Kishuan from Rabbi Yeshua, because the Mishnah said, Amar Rabbi Kiva Mishum Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Kiva said in the name of Rabbi Yeshua. But here you have Rabbi Eliezer straight telling us in part of this long story, but he's telling us that Rabbi Kiva learned the halachas of Netias Kishuan from him. From Rabbi Eliezer, not from Rabbi Yeshua. How could the Mishnah say that Rabbi Kiva said in the name of Rabbi Yeshua? That's the Gemara's kasha. We're going to continue in the story of Rabbi Eliezer, and the Gemara is going to answer the kasha later. Amrullah, so they said to him, they started asking him shailas about Hilchos Avatara, because there were a number of machlekes between Rabbi Eliezer and the Chacham about Hilchos Avatara, and they wanted to know if he was chayzer from what he held to argue the Chachamim, before he died. So let's first do the taich, and then we'll explain the shaylas. Okay? Amrullah, they told him hakadar. If you have a ball, so it's basically a ball made out of leather, and it's stuffed up with wool to make it firm. Okay. The an amum is in English the word is a last, but it's not exactly a last. Yeah, a last is what you use if you're a shoemaker. It sticks up and it's sort of the shape of an ankle, right, with the foot, like the bottom of the foot. Yeah, and you put the shoe around it, and if you want to fix the shoe, let's say you want to put in taps or heels, you have it upside down, and you go like this, and you go boom, 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 boom with the knot, and it goes right in there. I remember when I was a kid, we had this old-fashioned shoemaker in Muncie, and they had that, right? So that's a last. This is not talking like that, like a metal steel thing. It's talking about it was made as sort of like a form, where they would make it out of leather and stuff it up, and use that to make the shoes. Exactly. Right. Vakameya.
You can't. You put the plastic in a form and
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Vakameya. Kameya is something that you hang around your neck, usually something that you for medicine or for refuah, you put perfume in it, but you're putting something in it that's meant to stay there into this like little leather envelope, so to speak. Utsrar hamargalis, and a little pouch that you put a stone in. Margalis is literally a gem or a pearl. They would put it also for around the neck of a behemoth for Rashi says. So you'd also bundle that into a little piece of leather, a little piece of skin, and put that on. Mishkailas katana, or a little tiny weight. If you had a little weight, it would be very delicate, right? And you'd have, if it would get banged or nicked or dinged around, it would mess up the weight. Bishla, like a big weight, no big deal. It's a solid hunk, right? And you're not so worried about the preciseness of it anyway. But a little tiny weight, every milligram, is gonna count. So you put that, they would put a piece of leather around it. All these cases, Mahu, what's the halacha? He told them, we'll explain the Shiloh in a second. He told them, Hein Tamei and their Tamei, and the Tarasan to Mashehin, and their Tahara is how they are. Okay, what's going on over here? The Shiloh was like this. These cases, all these cases of the things that are things that have an outside and an inside. Like let's say the ball, right? It's got an outside leather, and inside is stuffing, right? Or the form for the shoe, outside is leather, inside is the stuffing. The form, the thing that you keep the margulis, the gemstone in, right? Outside is the leather, inside is the gemstone. And the Chacham behold in all these cases, even though it's a keli, right, because it has a base kibble, the halach is something that has a base kibble, as a place to hold something else, is going to be makabel tumah. The Chacham hold these are not makabel tumah. Why? Because the leather keli, kli'ar, is not makabel tumah unless it has a base kibble, and this is not considered base kibble because it's intended to always stay full. You always put the stuffing in it. You always put that jewel in it. So it's not intended. It's like a solid thing. Think of it as like a solid thing, right? It's not a base kibble, and therefore it's not makabel tumah. But Rabbi Eliezer held that a base kibble that's made to hold something inside, and even if it's like this, like a ball, it's a base kibble. Think of a baseball. It's got a leather outside, right?
You don't fill it up. You fill it up once.
I understand. This is the shiloh. This is exactly the shiloh, right? You fill it up once, right? He says it doesn't matter. The fact that it has an outside that's holding the inside, even though you're going to leave that inside there permanently, right? That's still makabel tumah. It's considered a base kibble and a keli. And then that was one shiloh. And the second shiloh they had was, okay, now let's say you had this form, the shoe form, right? And it tore open, right? Oh, now you see the inside. What's the inside? Yeah, well, that's stuffing there. Once it's open, then the Rabbanon will be minded that it's makabel tumah, right?
Now it's not a finished object.
Right, and because it has base kibble, right? But now the Chacham argue about tefillah, that how you retire it with Rabbi Eliezer. The Chacham hold that now the stuffing that's there is a chatzitza. If you dip it in with the stuffing, it's going to be a chatzitza because the water can't get to all the leather. And Rabbi Eliezer holds, no, that stuffing is part of it. It's part of the thing. So you just table the whole thing, no problem. It's not a chatzitza. Okay, so now that he was nifter, they wanted that he was being nifter, that he was dying. They wanted to know if he was chayzer in it. So they said to him, in these two things, these two machlekes about all these kind of kalim, which are all the same kind of thing, but just 5 different examples of the same kind of thing. What's the halacha? And then he said to them, I still hold it's tamei, and he's saying I hold it's tamei even if it's whole. It's the complete. The baseball is untouched, uncut. Right? There's nobody made a smack the hole into the leather of the baseball. I hold it's still going to be coming tamei. The taharasan b'mashein on the fourth wide line, and the tahara is how they are. In other words, I don't have to go if you got a hole in it, and where the chacham marmoida to Rabbi Eliezer that it's tamei, but now you want to table it to make it tar. I hold that you don't have to go and take the stuff out, unstuff it, and put it there, right? As they are, b'mashein, as they are. As they are, I can go and dip it into the mikvah, and we're going to be good. And it's going to be, and that's how it goes tar. What?
You kill it. It's be tummy. You're all wet.
Yeah, okay. So dry it quickly. I don't know. Okay. It is possible for leather to get wet in certain situations and still be okay. It depends on the leather. It depends on the situation. Depends how long you leave it wet. I can tell you that my shoes have gotten wet many times. Yes, so it's mostly they survive. Okay, so that was the one shiloh they asked him. Then they asked him, Min al shalgabi ha'emos mahu. I say ha'emos, but on the side it says, by the way, that on the whole amud, wherever it says emos, it should be emom. And the gersa is wrong. So the shiloh was, let's say you have a shoe on top of the last. So that means that you're middle of your shoe maker, right? And you're middle of making a shoe, right? And you're done. It's still on the form, but you didn't take it off yet. Is that considered Gemara Malacha? Is that considered a finished product that it's Makabel Tama or not?
So for Shabbos.
But taking it off on Shabbos, yes. But over here the Shaila is the Gabi Tim and Tara.
Yeah.
So the Gabi Tim and Tara, them it's machlekes in the halacha, where the Chacham say that it doesn't need any more malacha, and you don't need a professional to take it off. Anybody can come and take it off, and therefore it's a makabel tama. Rabbi Eliezer holds it's not nikbar malachta yet until you take it off, and therefore it's going to be tar. So they asked him, Minol shagabi emamahu, what's with this? A shoe on top of the emam is going to be tamei, like we said, or tar, like you said. Amar lahen hu tahar. He told them it's tahar. Yatsa neshmasa b'tahara, and his neshama went out when he said, as he said this tahar. Amar Rabbi Yeshua Ragla, Rabbi Yeshua got up on his feet. Amar hutra neder hutra neder. The chirim is gone. The Matzah Shabbos. So this was as Shabbos was falling. Maybe it was ready by the time they got to this part of the conversation. It was ready Friday night. It was already Shabbos. The Matzah Shabbos. So they couldn't bury him on Shabbos. The Matzah Shabbos they had to do the Levaya Matzah Shabbos. Matzah Shabbos Pagway Rabbi Kiva min Kisri LeLud. Rabbi Kiva met them as they were going from Kisri to Lud to do the Levaya, and Hayamakiv Ibsari, he was banging his flesh until his blood was flowing to the ground from such tar. He probably didn't even realize what he was doing. Look in Taisvis, the very last Taisvis in the parak. You see it? Taisvis says because of the halacha of you're not allowed to make a seret in l'nefesh. What? Okay, good. There's no Isser. Why? The Mishum Torah covered. He was doing it because of the Torah. Because the Amar, and like he's about to say, in places quotes the next piece of the Gemara. So let's see the Gemara. Pasach olav b'shura, and he started in the shura to be masbik b'amar, and he said the pasuk that Elisha said when Eliyahu was taken up to Shemayim. Avi, my father, Rech of Yisrael Parashav, the chariot of Yisrael, the rider of Yisrael and its chariots. And he said, a mashal, I have so much money, and I don't have any money changer to go and change them in by. In other words, I have so many questions, so many things to ask, and I have nobody to ask it to, because he couldn't ask Rabbi Eliezer anymore. So that's the end of the story, period. Okay?
He died, they buried him on the Shabbos.
Yeah. In fact, the Gemara, Rabbi Eliezer Gamra, you see that Rabbi Kiva learned these halachas and Matthias Geshun from Rabbi Eliezer, not Rabbi Yeshua. How could the Mishnah say he learned it from Rabbi Yeshua? The Gemara, Gamra, Rabbi Eliezer. He learned it from Rabbi Eliezer. But he didn't get it good. Then he learned it again from Rabbi Yeshua, and then he got it good. And he explained it to him. It became good to him. In fact, the Gemara. Now we're going back to the question on this Maisa. How was Rabbi Eliezer allowed to do this thing with the Kishuv, with the Kishuin? We said because that's what Rabbi Eliezer was doing. He was showing Rabbi Akiva how they do it with Kishuf. So how could Rabbi Eliezer have done that? It says how you narrow
Never
Mishnah.
mind. It wasn't real too. Never mind. You said before you said he never mind doing. He's not sure according to one. He's showing how it's done, but he's showing
But
how.
Kishuf and Avodah Zarah is very different. You're trying to say.
Avodah Zarah is much worse.
No, Avodah Zarah is worship, right? You can't worship something if you don't actually believe in it. You don't actually have intent to bow to it because you're worshiping it. So that's why there's a Shiloh who said somebody who does mi'ava me'ira, he's doing it not because he wants to, but because his wife says, honey, could you bow to this Avodah Zarah just to make me feel good, right?
Why we didn't punish the bound Haman? They know about him. They had no choice.
So first of all, are you only asking me this because we already did the Shabbos Mevorach for Adar? Okay, just checking. So first of all, if you remember, we actually Gemara brought down Haman over here. Let's see if I can find it quickly.
Which Gemara?
Sechta Sanhedrin.
No, guess what?
What was that? I don't remember what that. Hold on. Let's see if I can find the quick one.
Download it.
Where's the what? Which Gemara?
About Haman, if you're afraid of it. You don't mean to bow on purpose. You had no choice.
It says bottom of the base, I think.
Bottom of which?
Of the base, if I should.
Okay.
I think.
Here, very good. Shkoyach Rishmon. Bottom of Samachala from the base. Okay. The Gemara says, "Dilu Haman miyira v'hachalav miyira." By Haman, they bowed him from fear, from fear of the king of Abel Achashverosh. Hichein tzivulei hamelech, Rashi says, right? So it wasn't because they believed in Haman. Okay, but Al Kapanim, but that's a worship thing. Over here, Kishuv is different. Kishuv is you're doing a Maisa. And we said in the Gemara in the last couple of months, you're not allowed to do Kishuv. The Gemara says a couple of ways. People did Kishuv by using Shadim, by doing some sort of magic, which is not Shadim. And the third thing that's comparable is to using the Shemus Hashem, using Sefer Yetzirah, things like that. And that is also creating things and doing what we would call in our definite language magic, but that's okay because that's coming from the Koyach that the Rebbeinu Shalom put in the Bria through the Rebbeinu Shalom, and that's not usher. But the other two, whether you do it through Shadim or through Kishuf, is going to be Chayiv. And if you do it through Achizas Einayim, making it look like you did it, that's going to be Patra Aval Aser, the Mishnah said, right? The Mishnah said, Ha'isa Ma'isa Chayiv, Lo Ya'achizas Einayim. So that's why if you go to a fraud magician show, generally speaking, he's going to start and say that this is all tricks, none of this is real. So nobody should think that you're doing Kishuf because this Mishnah Avodah Zarah. Yeah, that's why they say it. So Al Kapanim, so Rabbi Akiva went to Rabbi Eliezer and said, Rabbi, how do you do this stuff with the Geshuin? And Rabbi Eliezer did it. So the Gemara is asking, how could Rabbi Eliezer do it? It's Aser, it's Chayiv, it's Kishuf, right? So the Gemara said, after the Gemara, the Islamic Shani, to teach, it's different. In other words, there's a heter to do it when you don't start doing it off the Kishuf itself. You're doing it to teach somebody what you're allowed and what you're not allowed to do. The Amar Marbooks we learn, Leisilmad Lasais. The pasuk says, Leisilmad Lasais Kaseyavais HaGoyim. Don't learn to do like the Tayevis and these Goyim in Eretz Yisrael when you're going to take over the Kanani. So Lasais Yatulami. You're not allowed to learn to do it so that you should learn it. But you are allowed to learn it so that you could understand and you could paskin, you should know what's kishuf, what's not kishuf, and when you see somebody doing it, he's chayav or not. How do you do that? You could only do it by being demonstrated. So that's why Rabbi Eliezer was showing it, and that's why it was okay for Rabbi Eliezer to do that.